Here to talk about recovery care and home care plus. One of probably my favorite grouping of programs. You can hit it there. There we go. 70% of all people over the age of 65 will need some form of short-term and or long-term care services in their lifetime. Every 65 seconds, someone is diagnosed with dementia or Alzheimer's. My mom had Lewy body dementia, and it literally took place overnight. 12.7 million people over 65 will have Alzheimer's by the year 2050. That's probably worth writing down or taking a picture of, because that's a stat. Okay? The average cost of a caretaker aide in your home is between $25 to $30 an hour. The average cost of a nursing home per day is between $150 and $200 a day, and trust me, it's a shared room and it's not the Taj Mahal. Medicare does not provide monies for care in the home or care in a nursing home. You're going to run across this all the time. My health insurance will pay for that. Here's what you say to them. No, it won't. And you just say it just like that, because they're assuming that it pays for them. And my Aunt Susie, who passed away 30 years ago, her health insurance paid to bring in a caretaker in the home. Things have changed. So no, your health insurance doesn't cover that. And I just say it kind of just like that. So Medicare does not pay monies for care in the home and care in a nursing home. It will pay for an occasional intermittent skilled nursing visiting nurse, but not for an aide and not for a long period of time. Skilled nursing services have to be ordered by a physician. And quite frankly, they're really limited. And so, do me a favor, let's save the questions to the very end. Okay, yeah, let me get through this. So, Mrs. Skidmore, next slide, I'm so sorry. Mrs. Skidmore, do you have a plan in place to cover the cost of your short or long-term care needs? And then you wait for the response. And I don't care what they say. It doesn't matter if they say yes. It doesn't matter if they say no. I still continue. Your state health benefits pretty much covers things at the doctor's office, the hospital, and your pharmacy, where our retirees, who's been in AMBA a long time, Jim Colvin, you recognize this sentence, okay? Where our retirees run into trouble, and sometimes really big trouble, is when they need care in their home or care in a nursing home. Since your Medicare coverage does not pay for that care, your out-of-pocket cost for those services could add up to thousands upon thousands of dollars over your lifetime. Medicare was never designed to pay those care costs. I can recite this backwards. I can recite this in my sleep. I can recite this in the shower. I can recite this 6 hours into a sleeping pill. This sentence is going to make you money. So take a photo of that. You can go ahead. Go ahead. If the client does have a sufficient long-term care policy in place, I make the suggestion that I suggest that they save that program for actual brick and mortar nursing home coverage. Most long-term care programs will cover either at 50% or 100% of the benefit in someone's home, Mandy. But the average stay for us girls, is 3 years and 2 months. The average stay for the boys is 2 years and 7 months. Most of long-term care policies cover people for 3 years. So if they use that policy for the care in the home, then by the time they move into a nursing home, they've used a year or two of their program, and they're run out of money after a year, and it's way more expensive in a nursing home. So my suggestion is, I suggest that they save their long-term care, and then we took at adding a small recovery care or home care plus program to cover them in their home. And ladies and gentlemen, when you have that conversation with people, you become an advisor. You're guiding them. You're helping. Nobody wants to make a decision to pay more money. Nobody wants to spend more money out of their checkbook. So it's up to you to know what the statistics are. So if they give me an objection of they're adding another amount to their monthly budget, Mr. Colvin, let me ask you a question. I understand that you're paying about $200 a month for your long-term care. And the cost of care in the home is about $4,500 a month. So if you do need care in the home, do you have that extra $4,500? No, sir. And if you multiply that times 12, which I can't because I don't do math, but that's a whole lot of money. And so by getting involved in one of the Aetna programs, write this down, you're going to transfer the risk. You're going to transfer the risk of those big monies to the insurance company. So you're going to exchange a small monthly amount for the potential of a great payout. And this isn't up here, but, well, do I get anything back if I don't use it? Let me ask you a question. Ann, let me ask you a question. How long have you been in your home?
14 years.
14 years. You pay about $1,000 a year for your homeowner's insurance. How much of that, since you didn't use it, do you get back?
None.
No, this is insurance, ladies and gentlemen. Insurance is a transfer of risk. You give them a monthly amount, and in turn, they give you coverage for the potential of making a claim. So I don't ever apologize that they don't get money back. I don't ever apologize that this is, in fact, insurance. Mrs. Skidmore, so if they give me an objection, they're adding another monthly budget, I remind them of the escalating cost of nursing home coverage, and then immediately, Ann, I'm not even sure you would qualify. What have I just done to her? It's a takeaway. I have just changed her mind from, I don't want to buy anything on a monthly basis, to, oh my gosh, am I going to qualify? That's professional selling. What we do is an art. And if you understand your role, my role is to get Mrs. Skidmore to give me her social and her checking account number. That's my responsibility. So, Mrs. Skidmore, I'm not sure you'd qualify. Tell me what your current medications are. And I haven't even given her yet a monthly amount. I haven't done any calculations. I want to know what her meds are so I know what to quote. Home care or recovery care. And now, right there, when I ask for the list of medications, that begins your closing cycle. And I know this is fundamental sales, but write this down, ABC. Ryan Greenfield taught me this on day one when he didn't think I was going to make it here at AMBA. It's true. Always be closing. Closing isn't a specific time in your presentation. It's from the minute you walk in your door. You're dressed well, your shoes are shined, your phone screen is shined off, your glasses are clean, you present yourself well, your fingernails are clean, and please wear socks. I have to talk with Nick. A couple objections, and I get this all the time. My family's going to take care of me. Mrs. Skidmore, it sounds as though you have a wonderful family. So compliment on that. Do your children work outside the home? Well, yeah. Which child? Here it is right up here. Which child? And this is a gut punch to them. Which child will you ask to quit her job, his or her job, to take care of you? And then you pause. Because that's when they are beginning to come into reality. Would those children split the cost of your care, or would just one of them pay for it? See, these are tough questions that as a professional, it's your responsibility to ask. Don't be shy asking the hard questions. Well, see, I just said myself. As a professional, you have to change their paradigm, Bill, of that they need to be okay to get involved in the Aetna program. Well, I'll just go out back and shoot myself. Most men, I get this, I'll just go out back and shoot myself. I'll commit suicide. Mr. Skidmore, which one of your children would you want to find you if you did that? What is an objection? Who said that? It's a stall. You're either going too fast or you're changing their paradigm. Here's what I want to say to you. Continue to overcome their areas of concern and don't back off. Understand, though, when it's time to be quiet, and understand when it's time to push forward. I want to think about it. Mrs. Heinrich, that's awesome. That means you're a really thoughtful person. Would 30 days be enough time to think about it? Great. Let me tell you how we'll do that. I don't ask them when David first started working with me 3 years ago, he came into my office and he said, excuse me, you don't ever ask them to buy something. You don't ever ask them. I don't ever ask, do you want this? I never ask that question because I'm closing from the minute I begin the presentation. Great. Let me tell you how we're going to do that. I can't offer you an answer today, Ann, because I'm not sure you would qualify. But here's what I can do. We can gather the information today and submit that request to Aetna. Now, write this down, and I say that to the client. Write this down. If Aetna says yes, the very first thing that happens, they're going to pull a good faith deposit out of your checking account. What have I just done to them? I've let them know that we're going to submit money with this application. So I tell them, write this down, because I can't tell you the number of calls I get. Well, I just wanted to know if I qualified. I didn't want them to. I had that very call last week. And I take copious notes when I'm selling. And I said to the man at 11:57 on December 29th, you and I had this conversation, and that gives you credibility. Oh, yeah, you did say that. Okay? So if they accept you, they will pull a good faith deposit out of your checking account. Then the next thing that happens, they will send the agreement, not the policy, not the contract. Those are bad words. They will send the agreement to your kitchen table. You have 30 days to read that from cover to cover. Inside that 30 days, if you have prayed about it, cogitated, ruminated, and you have decided this is not the best use of your dollars, you can do one of two ways. You can call me, and I'm an adult, you're an adult, Miss Dorothy. If you've prayed about it, I'm not arguing with him. You and I will call Aetna, and they will refund your good faith deposit. Okay? So what we're doing today, Ann, is all we're finding out today is if they'll even accept you or not. And there's one of your medications that I question. And I say that to everybody unless they don't take meds. If they don't take meds, you can't use that example. Go ahead. So there are 5 basic objections that you're going to get. And I don't call them an objection. It's an area of concern for them. I want to think about it. I'm insurance poor. If you were in the last class, Massa class, Debbie. Oh, sorry. If you were in the last Massa class, you see, you told me to do that. I didn't do that. I'm insurance poor. Thank you, sir. I can't afford it. I'm covered through Medicare. I want to talk to my family. I love that one. I can afford to pay all those costs myself. Can they afford to pay all those costs themselves? If they say they can, Steve.
They were doing fiat.
You know what? We have a program, Steve, where you could put your hard-earned dollars. It grows with the market, but if there's ever a downturn in the market, your money's protected. And you could use some of the benefits of that to handle this monthly amount or do it on an annual basis. So it's always a way to introduce the FIA. If I were you, I would do some research. There's a gentleman that I have followed for years, Tom Hopkins, and his book is How to Master the Art of Selling. And that's how I became so good at selling. I read that book every January. I have read it 30 times. I am on my 31st read. Yeah, if you're a professional, master your craft. Don't just say, oh, well, I'll see what I get today. Master your craft. Become a professional. You can go on. When David Hall started working alongside me 3 years ago, he was shocked. This needs to be summarized for on screen. What do they know? He was shocked that I never asked the client if they wanted it. And I also gave them their monthly amount choices immediately and asked them if they wanted, who they wanted as their beneficiary. So once we went over what their choices were, I didn't ask them if they wanted it. Chloe, I'd say, you know what? Who would be your initial beneficiary? Guess what I've just done to her mind? I've taken her off, oh my God, she's going to ask me for my checkbook. To who is my going to be? Now, are we going to, you have 3 children, you told me? So in the world of finance, you can't divide it equally. Which one of your children would you choose to do 33 and a fourth? What have I done to her brain? Now, is she thinking about, am I going to buy something? No, she's thinking about which one of my kids am I going to have fight because the other 2 didn't get as much. So it's the art of selling. Okay, let me go through this fast since they said I have to truncate this. I then follow with the address and social security number. When you ask for the social, shut up. Wait. The first one who speaks loses. Now, Mrs. Skidmore, remember, if Aetna accepts you, and I reiterate this, they will pull a good faith deposit from your checking account. Do you know your checking account number? And they will rattle it off. I don't even know my license plate, let alone my checking account number, and they just rattle their numbers off. The close happens all throughout the presentation. I don't have specific verbiage for the actual close. When I'm finished with the presentation, I'm simply gathering information for the application. I tell the client what we are doing and the protocol, and I do it 3 times, Jim. 3 times. I let them know how it's going to happen 3 times because they don't remember, and by this time they're shaking in their boots and they're not listening. I tell the client what we're doing and the protocol, and then I congratulate them on making a great decision, and then I go right back to, you must really love your kids. Because by doing this, you're not expecting your children to take care of you or pay for it. Next slide. Questions? I don't have to talk anymore. Yes. Okay, sir, tell me your name.
David Morris, Texas.
Okay?
Okay, my question is about quoting, like A-B.
You have to have the mic.
Oh, my question is about. All right, my question is about, like, how would you formulate a quote, A-B quote, or do you do that, or you set up, when you approach that?
Yes, I give them 2 options.
Okay.
I'm old and I deal with people that are old, and if you give them 3, it scrambles their brain, and then they really do want to think about it. So I give them 2 options, and then I give them my opinion. And by the way, I always give them a high option, and my opinion is to take the lower one. How do you think that makes them feel? She's not trying to sell me the highest one. And I say to them, the law says that I have to give you this number. I don't think you need that because you've done really well with your monies. You've got monies coming in from the TRS. You're going to be okay. You just need this one. And that makes them feel really good about me. Any other questions? Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. You have to have a mic.
One other thing, too, that I hear from people is, oh, well, I'll just exhaust my savings and I'll let Medicaid pay for it. People don't realize that when you do that, your inheritance is going to be recouped through the state.
Yeah, so I don't get that objection very often, but my responsibility would be to explain to them, there is definitely a difference between Medicare and Medicaid. And Medicaid is based on your ability to pay. And so if you do go into a nursing home or if you need some sort of care and you use Medicaid, they can't take the property away from your spouse. But upon your spouse's passing, they seize all of your assets. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that to my family. I don't want to do that to my nieces and nephews. I don't want to do that to my son. Dorothy, you're recording me. I can tell. Okay. Next question. She can't get away with it. Yes. Great speech yesterday.
Thank you, Colby. Can you hear me now?
I can.
I've always been confused about, they say, like, especially the recovery care, what happens when the 360 days are up.
Okay.
And it says guaranteed, renewable. Can you explain that?
Yes, I can. All right. So in the world of recovery care or home care plus, and this I sell. This is a selling point, Stacy, that I use. The great part of this program, Stacy, is that it's extremely flexible. I had a hip replacement a couple years ago, and if I didn't have David, I would have needed to have someone come in my home for just about 4 weeks, because for the first 2, David and I have a high poster bed, and I have a little step that I get up onto my bed. I could not, this is a fact, I could not lift my left leg up onto the bed. David had to pick my leg up and put it on the bed. I couldn't even turn over in bed. And so I would have needed 3 weeks of someone coming into my home. The good news is, and I can't do the math, what's 52 minus 3? You have 49. I'm teasing, by the way. I can do it. Ask Ryan. I'm not good at math, but I can do that. So you still have 49 weeks, Stacey, that you might not use for 2, 3, 10 years down the road. But once you have used that initial 52-week period of time, and write this down, those weeks do not need to be contiguous, okay? Once you've used that initial 52-week period of time, there is a 6-month respite. I don't call it a donut hole, it's a respite. Inside that 6-month period of time, you have to show improvement. In order for Aetna to give you the second 52-week period of time, it has to be for a different issue. Most of our claims happen inside that initial 52 weeks. Very few go to the second 52-week period of time.
That's exactly what I tell them. I'm specifically the recovery care when the long-term care is too expensive. They say, well, what happens when the year's up?
Well, I sell that as kind of an advantage, because if you're home and you're getting care in the home, if you still need care past a 52-week period of time, they're probably going to move you then to change your address into a long-term care facility. So I kind of use that 52 and 52, and it's important, by the way, for you to explain that to them. And I explain as a benefit by stating that those weeks do not have to be contiguous. So you may use this program, Stacey. It might take you 10 years to get through that initial 52 weeks.
In the recovery program as well?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to use it all 360?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Next question. Ma'am.
Your explanation on the which child would you like to find you, like that was really good, by the way. I always struggle with people that don't have children.
Okay.
And like, who's gonna who's
Okay.
gonna manage home care or don't have a partner.
Sure. So let me ask you a question. If you do need care in the home, do you have a friendship circle where you've all kind of pinky sworn to take care of one another? Which one of those friends would you want to change their life to come in and take care of you? And by the way, those friends are your same age, right? Yeah, they might not. Your mission in being a professional salesperson is to pull them into reality. The reason they're saying to you, oh, I have a friend that will do that, they want you to stop talking
Okay. All right.
because they're afraid you're going to sell them something. Does that make sense? Your responsibility is to talk and to get that social and to get that checking account. I've been in the business long enough now that I've paid a lot of claims. And I've paid claims on people who've called me on the phone crying. Aaron, I am so thankful you talked me into that. And I get an occasional call. Aaron, how come you didn't talk me into that? Now I need this and I get those calls all the time too. You make enough calls and you do enough business and you have all different kinds of calls. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Erin.
You're welcome.
Chloe Fiso. How do you decide on your premium amount? I mean, I have a way I do it, but I see you on Slack all the time posting all these different amounts. And how do you decide? How do you work your premium?
There's not a pat answer for that. If you've done the warm-up properly,
Right.
you have a feel for their financial
Correct.
situation.
Right.
And I always err on the side of making it affordable
Okay.
because I write a lot of small programs that I wrote when I first started with Ryan in 2011 that are still on the books today because it's affordable. So when things get tight and they look at their budget, they don't cancel their program because it's affordable.
Okay.
So I don't sell big fat programs.
Got it.
I sell things that are affordable.
Okay.
And the other thing I do, Chloe, is I touch base with them once a year.
Right. That's really important.
Yeah, I touch base with them once a year.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions? Oh my goodness. Yes, sir. Wait for the mic. I'm nervous. Jim Colvin, I'm nervous.
So Jim Colvin, Indiana. It's not a question, it's more of a comment or just some additional information. So the question about Medicaid, the other thing that, because selling is sometimes about the logical part and they would take the house and things like that. Sometimes it's also about the emotional part. Okay. So I read this article and it was really focused on some issues in Chicago. So the baby boomer generation is the only generation in US history that is larger than the generation, that comes after it. Okay, so the problem that the nursing home industry has is that the baby boomers are going to start moving into the need for nursing home. There will be, obviously probably more facilities built, but those facility owners are a little afraid of building lots of facilities for the baby boomers to see them sit empty on the generation after them. So the talk is that if the facilities that exist will be for the people that have money to pay for them, and the Medicaid facilities will literally be like a room of people, 60 people in a room, because that's what Medicaid will be. Okay, they're not going to build a bunch of facilities to have them just sit empty. So that is the potential future, and if you're a little frightened by that, they will be too. Okay, and again, we have to shake them into the reality. So it'll be really interesting and curious to see. The other thing that I wanted to, I think we still have time and travel time, is my wife's parents. I sold them long-term care the first year that I was in the business. My wife's mother is a retired teacher. And so I was in that discussion with them. All four of my wife's parents, so the four grandparents, they all needed care. So I didn't have to sell them long-term care. They wanted it. They just wanted to know how it worked. And so what the statistic is, 2.5 years, 2.8 years for care? I mean, whatever it is. Okay. So I said that to my father-in-law, somewhat still new in the business. And he said, well, I don't believe that. I'm like, well, I don't know what you mean. I mean, that's the statistic. Tell me why you say that. And he's like, well, I'm not saying that I don't believe that. What I mean is, and this is from their personal situation, what I think happens in real life is that someone needs care, the family or friends come alongside, provide some care, and eventually they can't do it, and then the person goes into the facility for 2.5 years. So how long would they have needed care if they had just been able to fund going to the facility from the first place. So the question is, we don't know, but we know it's longer than 2.5 years. So if you want to sell a recovery care on top of a long-term care plan, just remind them of that your 3-year plan looks good, but maybe the reality is you could use it for longer. Maybe add the home care, maybe add facility and home. You can't really add too much. If they've already bought into this risk with their long-term care, add a little bit more just to cover your bases. So I just wanted to step on your toes in your training, so.
Great point. Anybody else? Wow. Colby, we did it. Tell me.
My question is, as far as if you're at an appointment, are you writing them a proposal? Are you having them write it down as far as AB, your quote? Or if you're over the phone, are you sending them anything ever?
We're being recorded, right? Oh, yes. I am a first-time closer. And I do, by the way, I close, and then I send them a thank you email with my picture and all my creds underneath it and a copy of the brochure. Because they might get rated. They might get, so it might be a little different. They might not qualify for recovery. So what I do is when I send in Ann's application with her good faith deposit, I let her know, I am concerned about one of your medications. So they're either going to accept you, they're going to deny you, or they're going to let me know that maybe there's something else we can do. So I let myself off the hook. So I guess the answer to your question is no, I don't send them. I don't send any type of rates, by the way, via email. So I thank them for their business. I let them know that I'm going to walk alongside them if they have to make any claims. And then I send them a copy of the appropriate brochure. Did that help? Okay. Yeah. Well, when I went to Ryan's class, it was much different. He taught me how to do this, 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 and this. And as I've gotten older and lazier, not lazier at all, it's just a little different style. The percentage that don't close, I don't know, my close ratio is probably 80-20. And yes, I do follow-ups. Yeah, my close ratio is high. Yeah, but that's because I am a professional and I know where, the minute my feet cross the threshold of the door or I get them on the phone, I am on purpose.
And they're sticky.
They stick. I do think, Ryan, my persistency is good, correct?
It's been a while since I've checked in her, but I would imagine that it's...
Yeah. I'm told that I have over an 80% persistency. If you write good business, it will stay on the books.
So, Eric, so talk about, so are you approaching new people? Are you approaching people that you close, like you've touched base with people, of course, once a year, but I liked what you said about in the big room about you only do one product at a time.
Correct.
And so you've done one product. When do you call them back to do the next product?
After it's been on the books for 30 days.
Okay. And
After
then
they've gotten through their 30-day free look.
And then you call for the next
and I
product.
fall on the sword. Chloe, I am so sorry. I probably should have called you the minute this issued. Congratulations, by the way. You made a great decision to get involved in this program. And please, you're going to have to forgive me, and please don't tell Dr. Bill Sloan that I left this out. But the massive coverage, I didn't even bring it up. I am so sorry, Chloe. Please forgive me. And I beg forgiveness. So when I'm finished talking with her, she signed up for MASA in the second phone call. So that's how I do one program at a time, because I don't have a whole lot of gray matter up here. So I'm only able to talk about one program at a time. But I build relationships and I build a client base. So when they need something, they call me.
Do you have a product you start with, Erin? Do you just start with?
No, I do the warm-up.
Yeah.
And wherever that takes me, yeah, I don't have an outline of here's what I do every time. That's why it's difficult for me to train, because I do it, it's based on the need of the actual person I'm speaking with. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, and a lot of times I'll pick them up on Zoom and I'll let them see the quoting software. I think we have more time?
Yeah, but you're good too.
Oh, see, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. Absolutely. You need a mic.
No, I don't. But, everybody always wants to know how Aaron Hall does what Aaron Hall does. Aaron Hall does because Aaron Hall is Aaron Hall. You can't replicate everything that she does, even though everybody wants to. They want to fly out to Georgia and stay in, pay money and buy her.
Okay.
And what? I didn't say me, I said some people. But I really, and all these so many great nuggets that you get from her and other people, and everybody's writing it down is great, but after so many of these meetings we've been to, I really, really challenge you to actually pick up 1, 2, or 3 things that she's doing or what you heard in the other session, and actually make it part of your daily activities. And that's the true testing. Then you can say, you were right, but Aaron would love for you to tell her, you were wrong, this didn't work at all. But
Ryan tells me that all the time. He sends me emails. Boom. I got you, Aaron. Yes, sir.
I heard you speak to us at Mustang School several years ago. I heard you speak at Mustang School several years ago on Zoom, and one of the things you were talking about, or that really stuck in my mind, was how you eliminate rebuttals ahead of time. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's a great question. I massage every possible objection, area of concern into my presentation, Mandy. So I have overcome all of your areas of concern before you have a chance to voice them. Because when someone gives you an area of concern, that's not their concern. They want you to slow down, or they want you to stop talking, or they want you to get off the phone. Tell me your name. Gail, I know you want me to get off the phone. I say that. But this is really important. Wouldn't you agree? And I've sucked her back in, because I've acknowledged that she wants me to get her off the phone, so I've exposed her. Folks, you can't be more real. If you're real in this business, they don't see you as a salesperson. They see you as an advisor, a benefits representative. Somebody else. Dorothy, you have to have a question.
Well, I was listening to how.
I love Dorothy Walton, by the way. We go far back. We are connected.
I love you too, Erin. I was listening to how you were presenting how when you have your first 12 months and then the other 12 months, and I think through the seminars with Kevin, Jamie, is that when you if you utilize the program and you utilize like 4 weeks of it, then after you've been off for 6 months, your portion that's on that shelf, if you will, that 12 months, they take that 12 months and put it back so that at any given time you have 360 days at any given time. That's how I understood that. So they replenish it like right away. You don't utilize the whole thing. They keep replenishing, so you do have that amount of time. Just wanted to say that. But on the other hand, like when you're doing your presentations and you're either on the phone or via Zoom, and without giving them, if you're on the phone and they can't see the numbers, you're having them write it down as you go, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, but if they're on Zoom, then you take them on the quoting tune with you, and I like how you don't send anything out. That is something that I have to wrap my mind around that.
I send a thank you, I send an acknowledgement, and I always send a thank you for the conversation itself. So if they haven't gotten involved in a program at that particular, I still send them a thank you email. I'm not too much of a texter because I'm old, but I do send emails, and I send it. Who laughed at that? Jeff laughed at that.
But I also like the one product at a time.
Yes.
So it gives them that sometimes
Dorothy, I'm a consumer. I just bought a car. Well, David bought it, I drive it. But I didn't want to look at 50 different cars.
Okay.
I walked in the showroom, I saw what I wanted, and that salesman was smart enough not to upsell me to anything else. I saw what I wanted. So one program at a time, and then when you call back, fall on the sword. Dorothy, I'm so sorry. Please don't tell Dr. Bill Sloan from the GREA that I didn't talk with you. Please let me off the hook, you promise?
Yes.
And when you do that, guess what I've just done? I've sucked them in. And now they want to
Y'all
hear
have
what
a
I have to say
secret.
so I don't get in trouble.
Exactly.
Because they like me because I gave them the first program. The other thing is, I think, be genuine.
And you made yourself human.
Yeah,
I made
be
mistakes.
human. Oh, I fall on the sword all the time.
Just to clarify, the home recovery care fills back up, right, to the 52 weeks, but not the recovery care. Am I wrong on that? No. Do you understand?
We have both. We have recovery
They do?
care and we have.
Interesting. The recovery care, the RC fills back up.
it's state specific.
Yeah, it does not in Georgia.
I know.
Stacy, in Georgia, once it's used, it's used. So each state has different laws. And in my state, the 52 weeks is gone. It's gone.
Are you sure? I'm pretty loud. Oh. Hi, Aaron.
Tell me your name.
So my name's Kim. I'm from Missouri. So I know you're saying one thing at a time, but say you're actually in person with someone. Are you still sticking to that only going over recovery care or only going over cancer policy or whatever if you actually drive to the person's house and you're sitting in front of them?
Yeah, I don't
still
do
stick
very
it to
many in-homes anymore. COVID changed that.
Right.
I got pretty good on the phone. But when I do in-homes, I finish one thing first. And then I open up, I ask to go to the restroom, I ask for water, because what you want to do, Stacy, you want to change their base. You've got them in a mode where they just purchased something, give them a minute to unwind. So trip over the rug or ask them for water or, I have to go get something from my car. Give them a minute to recover. And then, I just thought of something, Stacy. Did I mention when we talked on the phone the other day, and congratulations, by the way, for getting involved in the recovery program, but if you were to have to pay an ambulance cost, that would pretty much put a dent in your checkbook. And for, to cover you and your husband for the small amount of $49 a month, I could cover everything for you. Ground ambulance, medical helicopter, medical jet, and if you go overseas, I could repatriate you. And because you are a member of the Georgia Retired Educators, you would get a discount, and it would be that $49 a month. And it pretty much, boom, and I close a lot of MASA. And so I kind of add the MASA on. And then, like Linda Skidmore, the last thing I do before I leave is, by the way, are you happy with your nest egg? Well, what is that? Well, I know you have your state health benefits, and I know you've got your TRS monies, but those monies that you have for long-term for when you really get old and decrepit and you need it, are you happy with where that is? And then I never leave without talking about FIA. And by the way, for the big FIA I did, the story is wonderful, Jim. She asked for a $25,000 quote on the phone. I set an appointment. I could tell, you're in sales for a while, you know when to go to their house and when not. I could tell this was going to be an in-home. My appointment with her was on Monday morning, and I acquiesced and said, okay, because I always do the meeting, so I skipped the Monday meeting. On Sunday night, she called me and she said, I just want you to know I'm not going to do anything tomorrow. Okay, fine. And she says, you don't really have to come. And I said, well, I'm going to be in the neighborhood, because I was going to be in the neighborhood going to her house. So I'm going to be in the neighborhood. And she said, well, I'm just not going to do anything because I have other people I want to talk with and get their opinion about this. And I said, all right, great. So David was with me, and we pulled into her driveway. I looked at my husband and I said, you follow my lead in this house. So we get in the house. I threw the proposal across the table and I said, here you go, here are the numbers you wanted. And we did a little bit of a policy review on some of the other programs she had. And then I stood up. And David sitting there and I kicked him under the desk. Get up, you know. And I started to walk toward the door, and she said, where are you going? And I said, well, you said you just wanted the proposal and that you needed. She said, sit down, I'm going to do this. At that point, it was 25 grand. By the time David and I walked out of her house, Jim, it was 3.4 million. 3.4 million. And I'm shaking, I'm almost dropping my teeth. And we get in the car, and I said, David, don't say anything until she can't see the car anymore. And I called her that night. And I said, I just want to make sure you are comfortable with moving. And she said, yeah, I want to do it tomorrow. And then it went like clockwork, just like clockwork. So always ask about the FIA. Anybody else? Tell me.
Because Ryan said take something away, and the last time you spoke, you said it's not a premium, it's a monthly amount. And I think that is key. I always do the monthly amount.
Nobody wants to pay a premium. A couple of my buzzwords. I don't do a pitch. Pitches for baseball. We got him on that one. Pitches for baseball. Dallas did the FIA presentation the other day. We came in a day early, and he was talking about pitch, and who was it? Tim Gustafson. Dallas, pitches for baseball. I don't do a pitch. I do a presentation. I don't have customers. I have clients. I don't give an application. We're going to fill out the paperwork. It's not a policy. It's an agreement. What you say matters. How you dress matters. If you have food in your teeth, it matters. And this is for the women. I know the fashion these days is tight. Everything tight, all that stuff. When you get to Mr. and Mrs. Jones' house, Mrs. Jones, all she's concerned about is what is Mr. Jones looking at? This is a true story. I was assigned 2 years ago, it's called a shootout in Birmingham, and I was assigned a home office employee to tag me. And she shows up in the lobby. I didn't know that was happening. She shows up in the lobby, and her skirt was here. And she came up and she tapped me on the shoulder and she said, Erin, I'm so-and-so. I'm going to follow you around today. And I said, oh, no, you're not. Not dressed like that, you're not. And her little face got 16 shades of red. And if you talk with her today, and I'm not going to share her name, she thanks me every time she sees me. I don't care what you look like on Saturday night on a date. But you belong in professional business attire that is not glued to your body with 16 inches of cleavage hanging out. Sorry. Whatever. 16. Okay, a young man over here. Yeah. No, you're addressing an elderly population. Please be aware of what you're wearing. Make sure your glasses are clean. Brush your teeth. Make sure your phone screen is clean. Your computer screen is clean. Be a professional. And for the guys, I know these guys now, their pants are this high. They don't wear any socks. They're glued to their calves. Please, go buy a suit. Go to Goodwill and get an old person suit. Are we done? Oh, we're done. Okay.
Thank you.